Hello and welcome to Good or Bad. Deep Blue Sea 3 picks up where the second film ended, with Bella and her shark babies having escaped floating shark experimenting laboratories for the betterment of humankind 2.0, and they now have their jaws unleashed upon the world. And I know, the premise of these super enhanced sharks being set free upon the deep blue ocean is a promising idea. But don't worry, this film still hugs to the base concept of having sharks stalk people in a confined floating human-made structure in the middle of nowhere. So it keeps itself in check and doesn't drift too close to a breath of fresh air. Everyone, say hello to Little Happy, a poorly named floating village with shark researchers living on it. Main character Dr. Emma Collins studies great white sharks, and even makes friends with one, called Sally. I would make fun of that, but they named the shark Sally, therefore this is the best movie of the last decade. As well as Dr. Collins, we also have her team living on Little Happy. A bunch of generic characters that add nothing to the movie beyond adding to the smorgasbord of food that is the shark's buffet. To be fair to the movie though, I will say that the acting is much better this time around. The characters are still bland, but definitely better acted. Okay, so, the scene is set. What happens then, you ask? Bella, the big bad mama of the sharks, which had an entire movie building up her extreme intelligence and badassery, is found dead because she got tangled in fishing lines. How do you manage to have such an anticlimax in a movie that's this shallow? Well, you managed it. Her now juvenile bull shark babies have of course decided to head to Little Happy to feast on the great white population. But Genotic Labs, the soulless pharmaceutical corporation behind the shark experimentation, doesn't want its secrets getting out. So they have dispatched Dr. Richard Lowell and a team of mercenaries to capture or kill the sharks. We discover that Emma and Richard used to date. Well, of course they did. After all, the world is basically the size of a small council estate. They go after the three sharks and manage to capture one of them. I just want to say that these sequel-enhanced bull sharks have nothing on the original Mako sharks. They would have ripped you apart in a matter of moments. And there is nothing that they or Roy Cropper from Corrie could have done about it. Not quite sure why I decided to name drop Roy Cropper from Coronation Street, but there we are. What I love though is that when they have the shark prisoners secured upon their boat, the other two bull sharks start smashing their faces into the underwater window. That is until Dr. Ex-Boyfriend threatens to kill the shark prisoner unless the siblings back off, which they of course do. My god. This is a fish-napping movie, like the film Prisoners, but with sharks. I'm getting distracted. The mercenaries are planning to kill the remaining two sharks by blowing them up with a mine, which will also destroy Little Happy as well. A confrontation is afoot when she confronts Richard about this. He declares that he has no idea what is going on, and confronts the mercenary leader Lucas about this. My god, I've never witnessed a film with so much confrontation. Lucas then basically says he doesn't care and raises his toy gun. I mean, seriously, look at that thing. All it's missing is a Toys R Us label. Lucas starts shooting at the people of Little Happy and forces Richard to choose between helping his former girlfriend or serving the interests of the almighty soulless pharmaceutical company, which at this point may as well just be the Umbrella Corporation. And he chooses to follow the path of love.
I would rather die with her than live like you.
Well, to quote Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, he chose poorly. Ah, what the hell, play the clip.
He chose poorly.
And I like this death scene because it's stupid and over the top. And you know what, there are a few of them like that in this film. And this one is my favourite.
Fatality.
Love 'em all, combat joke. So you may be asking, why exactly are the mercenaries so keen to kill everyone? Well, the answer to that question is because they want to. And that's the only answer you're gonna get. What, did you expect more from Deep Blue Sea 3? Well, shame on you. One could make the argument that the people of Little Happy figured out what the evil soulless corporation were doing and the mercenaries wanted to silence them, but, and I would like to stress this, the movie never makes that clear. It's the most obvious answer, but the movie never makes it clear. So there's this bit where Dr. Collins goes under the water to remove the mine that is attached to Little Happy, and she gets attacked by one of the mercenaries. But Sally, the great friendly white shark, comes along and saves her by chomping on him to death. Then she swims along holding the mine, with the two bull sharks eagerly following her, but keeping their distance because they don't want to set off the mine. You know, I do really like the concept of a movie about super smart killer sharks of death, but when you go down the road of fish napping and bomb negotiations, you've made a wrong turn. Like just before you made the second film. She places the mine on the boat. The bad guy, not realising that the mine is on the boat, detonates it. The boat then sinks and the fish-napped shark is set free. So that just leaves the sharks to deal with. And the tough guy that lives in Little Happy sacrifices himself to kill two of them. Lucas then decides that he survived the explosion and attacks Emma. This whole scene was a pointless stay of execution for his character that only served to make the movie longer than the last one. That's not a good thing. Which leaves only one super duper shark to deal with, which they then crush to death. The remaining survivors of Little Happy set sail back off to civilization. But oh wait, a person we thought was dead is really alive. And oh good, Sally is okay as well. Deep Blue Sea 3 is, as I mentioned before, yet another pointless sequel. On the plus side, I thought that the acting was a bit better than the second movie. The shark attack scenes were at least ludicrously over the top, and there was some martial arts fighting moments. Overall, despite the fact that this is definitely a better movie than the second film, and also despite the fact that this was received fairly well, I still didn't like it all that much. Bad CGI, zero suspense, generic characters, and a shallow plot still holds this back from being a good shark movie in my opinion. And I mentioned the suspense because, in the first Deep Blue Sea, yes, the CGI wasn't the best, the characters were still generic, very well acted though, but still generic, and the plot was pretty straightforward, but the suspense, my god did Deep Blue Sea up the suspense. The sharks had a very strong menacing presence, they were built up effectively, had a good soundtrack. Deep Blue Sea 2 and 3 don't achieve that. Which is why, despite the fact that this is definitely a step in the right direction, it's still not living up to the potential that I think a Deep Blue Sea sequel can be. But as I said, it was definitely a step up, the acting was much better, and the film definitely owned the fact that it was going for goofy shark movie rather than serious. So yeah, at least it's better than Deep Blue Sea 2. So I guess that's progress. You've been watching Good or Bad, and I will see you next time.